This isn't a video about welding carts as much as it is a video about problem solving. Not having a welding cart just happens to be the problem I needed solving. The cart I made isn't really, it is a welding cart, but it's an approach to answer more than just one problem. It's a method of thinking. A welding cart is pretty simple to make a good plan for. Like, it doesn't take a lot. You need 4 casters and 2 frames that are connected between each other, and it's a place to put the argon bottle. This wouldn't be hard to just draw out on a napkin and go to the metal supplier, get all what you need. But that's too easy, you know? This is how you go into something without having a plan or like drawing out a blueprint or approaching it with any idea of what you're going to come up with. Originally, the plan was to make it out of a dolly, but I think that would be kind of counteracting going and buying a welding cart, because I'd have to go buy a dolly. And if I wanted a good dolly, I'd have to probably spend as much as I would on a good welding cart. And that's not why I got a welder. I got a welder so I could figure things out, make things myself, and be cool Mr. Build-A-Lot guy. Like always, how goes it? Welcome back to the show, and thanks for showing up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you don't need to go and buy a welder. You need the problem, one or a couple good references, and a willingness to adapt or a willingness to adjust. Improvisation is definitely, like, may I say, one of the most important skills about fabrication. This cart right here was just the excuse to improvise. Yes, I do need a welding cart. Yes, I could have bought one. Why not, you asked? Well, what's the point of having a welder if you're not going to make stuff with your welder, you know what I mean? Also, with not having a plan and improvising comes having limited material, using what you have, starting from scratch, as they say. Nothing, nada, well, maybe a few things. What really matters here is how you use what you have, not what you use. I started with a few leftover casters, a little bit of frame. You're not going to believe it, but I actually used a motorcycle to build my welding cart. What did you use? I also had limited tools. I'm just kidding. I used some tools that are not really required, but I'm trying to level up my fabrication skills, so that requires doing. So I'm using some tools in this video that are not necessary. You don't need them. Constraints force clarity. Now you're like, what is that supposed to mean? It's way easier to make decisions when you have less options, right? So think of like 50 different candy bars.
What?
Now think of 3. It's a lot easier to pick between 3 and 50. So with not having a plan or going in with limited material, I did not know the size and shape of my welding cart, but I did know the requirements. I needed to, 1, hold a welder. 2, roll around. 3, be stable. 4, stay out of the way. Everything else other than those, I think is pretty flexible. I think is pretty optional as well. Now I'm going to give you my problem-solving, improvisation, adaptation, figure it out formula. Now you don't have to solve everything at once. You break it down into bite-size, not overwhelming pieces. I know a lot of you are about to click off on the video, but this is a real-world application for 5th grade algebra. That crap that you never thought you were going to use? Well, check out this. You take what you do know and figure out the unknown from what you do know. Like, start with something you trust. Like, for example, a motorcycle wheel. I know the size and the shape and the center of the motorcycle wheel. I also know there was a pre-existing frame that I could use on that motorcycle wheel. What I'll do is I'll figure out the center of my motorcycle wheel and how much I need from the center to where the edge of the motorcycle wheel. And I'll take that pre-existing frame and I'll make it level at a certain point, and I'll keep it level. And I'll pull everything off of that. I'll square everything off of that, and I'll make that my baseline. The wheel had no spec sheet. I probably could have Googled it and figured it out through the interwebs by just typing in the make and model of the motorcycle, which, if anybody's curious, it's a Honda Shadow 600 that I'm robbing this tire from. And I know there's going to be a lot of people in the comments like, why? Well, the engine was getting used for something else anyway, and the shocks were leaking and all nasty. It'd be a lot to just put it back to where it was. So I just decided to kind of just recycle it. And I'm going to use a lot of the other parts for other things. You'll see in my later videos. This is probably one of the most important lessons to this, is the first version does not have to be final. Like you'll see later in the video, I definitely made renditions to mine. You could cut parts off. You can move parts around. You can add parts if you want to. I think progress matters more than perfection. Unless you are a perfectionist, nothing wrong with that. I concur. Y'all driving standards. In that case, perfection is your progress. And like I said, I'm just using stuff I have around. So what really matters here is the methods more than the materials being used. Like I said, you can start with a plan. You can definitely come up with a plan prior to doing all this. It'd be a lot easier. It might even be cheaper than buying a welding cart. I'm just simply using stuff I had laying around that I had overstocked, and I'm trying to do cleanup around the garage without actually cleaning up here, if you know what I'm saying. The only reason I could take random assorted pieces of junk and make what I did is because of the approach I used. After you got the idea to improvise crap into something useful, now we can talk about the details. Now, I'm not going to give you a step-by-step. This is more a breakdown of the decisions that were made. Like, for example, the materials, what I had laying around. I had 2 casters that were overstocked from other projects that were made. And these are just cast iron, like 2-inch casters that swivel. I mean, they are something you could definitely go and buy, but they're also used. I could have done the same thing with fixed casters as well. The rear motorcycle wheel, I have an old Honda Shadow that was just sitting around collecting dust. It was half taken apart anyway. That had a bunch of rust in the gas tank. Well, I took out the engine to put it in something else, and now I have a leaky frame or a leaky front suspension, and a frame that's just in the way now. So I decided to make good use of it, taking it apart and using the back motorcycle wheel for something. Finally, I found something to use it for. None of this is special or rare. You could definitely go to the salvage and get, cut off, just find an old piece of junk, like Honda Civic or something that has a in-place back wheel and cut the wheel hub off. You could just unbolt the wheel hub and take it and do the same thing with it, right? It's not really what I used, it's how I used it. For example, the original plan was to make this out of a dolly, but I couldn't justify using buying a new dolly for this because it'd be the same thing as buying a welding cart. I wanted something that had the characteristics of a dolly where you could push down on it and kick it up and move it to wherever you needed, right? Well, me using my ideal part of my brain to my Lego block part of the brain, Lego block connection part of the brain, came up with the idea to make a motorcycle wheel into a dolly. That has my welding cart and the argon bottle on it. Now we're going to talk about the tools used. A welder and a grinder can do 100% of the work here. You do not have to have the tools I am using in this video. But since I was using pipe, I used a pipe notcher. Now, there's probably some breakdowns of what is faster, but you could definitely cope pipe with like a torch or a plasma cutter if you have one, if you have the right stenciling for it. I think they're both almost equally as fast because it still takes you time to get your notcher set up, and you got to drill. It's a drill, It depends on how thick your pipe is. 1.25 by 16 gauge isn't very thick, so it was pretty fast. But you do not need it. You also do not need to use pipe. You can use square tubing. It would have probably been easier if I used square tubing. A little less expensive too. I mean, I don't remember when I bought this pipe, but I know it's probably not as cheap as using the same size, but in square tubing. I used the notcher and the pipe bender just so I could get the practice in for making later projects. I'm just trying to level up my fabrication skill here. You do not need them. They are definitely optional. But if you have the money and the incline to learn new things, I recommend you give them a try. I mean, it definitely saves some time if you, instead of making cutting two pieces apart and welding it back together in a different angle, it's easier just to bend them. However, when you're getting your pipe bender, make sure you get a good one because that one kind of sucks. You can use the alternatives to like notchers and pipe benders. It's just like square tubing. Just you cut into angles, right? You would miter it into like the whatever angle you need. A tool that is very useful though, and I recommend getting just because it'll save you a little bit of time and take out some vagueness from your build, is a angle finder. You can get these for like $25 on Amazon. I mean, I think they're a good deal all around. It's good just to have laying around for building almost anything. How this build took shape. I started out with just the wheel and the frame that was left on it. Got my size of my wheel, got that frame, and I chose one bar from that little piece of frame and I leveled it out. Everything else was built off that level bar and the size of the wheel. Like, for example, I had to bring the rollers out to where the bar would sit level when it had the rollers sticking out from the bar, right? So I had to find where that bar was. I had to find the center line and where that bar was from the center line, and then the radius coming out, subtract where that bar was from the radius, and then make a bar that held that connect to the rollers. And I even messed up, so I had to put a little extension by welding quarter plates on the bottom of where the rollers would sit. After getting my caster set and to where the frame would sit level on the wheel, now there was a bit of a balancing act this right now because the pre-existing frame was heavier than just the rollers. I made a little platform on those rollers to put the argon bottle on. Once I had the spot for the argon bottle, I could build the rest of the frame to hold basically a back for the argon bottle and a little table for like just a catch-all table, just to throw stuff on in case I need it. That was my original plan. This table that I built ended up being where the welder was going to go. But the original plan was to put 2 boxes on the side to hold the welder and the plasma cutter. After doing this, obviously, I was like, man, that looks like crap. So I cut them off. That looks like crap, and it made it a lot larger than it needed to be, which I don't have a lot of space in here as it is, and I wanted it to be smaller. So I cut those off. And luckily, I didn't do too much of like putting stuff on and cutting it off or putting stuff on and moving it, because a lot of this was like, it could have probably been done better, but with the time I wanted to spend on it, I think I did a pretty good job. At least I didn't do a lot of like putting stuff on and being like, man, that's not going to work, and cutting it off. There is a little bit of stuff that's not really mirrored, like, for example, the handlebars. The handlebars aren't perfect angles away just because I'm learning how to use the pipe bender. And I think that pipe bender is meant for like basic, way more basic things than I was using it for. It's hard to like take a very generic, like cheap pipe bender and do multiple angle bends on it, which I'm sure I'm going to get better at it. And I don't think I did bad for like literally using it my first time. But that being said, there is a little of like, you can see it when you look at it. There is a little bit of like unevenness or and a lot of stuff I just came up with on the fly, like the table itself. That was a very afterthought. There wasn't going to be anything on top of the wheel originally, but I had an old mailbox that I was making for my brother-in-law that I never actually completed for him. Oops. And then I was like, man, that's some good 1/8" steel. You know, that's some good steel I got sitting there. I'm going to use it for something. And what do you know? It kind of measures out perfectly to fit on top of the wheel. So I cut that up, made the table. The table ended up being what the welder was going to sit on. And what do you know? After I'm all done, the cart does indeed roll. It holds the welder. It's stable-ish. It's stable enough. I would say that. I'm gonna be conscious of where it is all the time, but I don't gotta worry about it just deciding to trip on it over itself. Now, I'm not gonna say this was a cheap build because of the material I use, but you can definitely make it a cheap build. I can definitely say it's a unique build. You probably can't find a welding cart that has a motorcycle wheel on it. Improvising isn't guessing. It's using what you know to figure out what you don't know. You don't need to go buy anything. You just need a big enough problem worth solving. And if you got one, go take a stab at it. Let me know in the comments what you would use to throw at your problems. And if you stuck around this long, I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. I'll see y'all in the next one.